There are abundance of turkeys available. They're about $1 more for a 20-pound bird, which is a huge bird if you're feeding a very big family. And that's something that, again, we've been working to make sure people have more money in their pockets to address it as the economy is turning back on.
But the president said today that he was sent here to look out for these working and middle-class families who are strained right now. So what should they read into him leaving now at this time of great personal financial hardship for so many to go to Nantucket for the week?
Well, first I would say, Peter, that I hope you're spending time with your family. I'm spending time with my family, and I hope everybody in here is spending time with their families. This is a time to put politics aside, spend time with your loved ones, and talk about what you're grateful for. I will also tell you from spending some time working for this president and a past president that you are president no matter where you are. He will conduct his work from wherever he is, on any vacation, on any time he is in Delaware, at Camp David, or wherever he may be spending time with his loved ones. He has secure phone capabilities. He has staff traveling with him, and I think the American people can be assured that he will continue to press to lower their costs and ensure they have more breathing room.
So Peter Doocy wants to know why Biden is leaving on Thanksgiving because there's inflation. Just want to make sure that I have that correct. Welcome to the latest bit of manufactured outrage by Fox News, where the edict from the top seems to be getting people mad at Joe Biden for the crime of celebrating Thanksgiving. Now, a preschooler could see that this is a nothing story, but just to really drive home the extent to which Fox doesn't believe the lie that it's spouting, Donald Trump golfed nearly 300 times during his one term at an approximate cost of $149 million to taxpayers, and yet not once did Fox manage to utter a single word about it. Not once. And yet now we're supposed to believe that it's some sort of scandal that Joe Biden's going home to celebrate a holiday with his family. But let's be honest, the whole point of this question is to yet again hammer away at inflation. So because Republicans are clearly hellbent on making inflation the boogeyman of 2022, let's talk about inflation. First of all, the cause of inflation in the US, just like the cause for inflation across the entire world, is pandemic related. It's when the supply and demand of goods isn't in balance. So in this scenario, where the demand exceeds supply, costs rise to compensate for that constrained supply and increased demand. Joe Biden didn't create this pandemic, nor did he create the environment that's causing high inflation. But what he is doing is taking steps to reduce it. For example, at the Port of Los Angeles, the nation's largest port, Biden announced a deal to establish around-the-clock operations to break an unprecedented container ship traffic jam. From there, the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach announced plans to charge carriers $100 per day for each container lingering past a given time frame, which has also spurred movement at the ports. Jen Psaki explained, both ports are moving 19% more containers than at the same point in 2018, which was the previous record, and the points remain on target to outpace the previous record of 17.5 million containers processed in 2018. Meaning that while Biden didn't create the problems that he inherited from the mismanagement of the last administration, he's clearly finding solutions for them. And beyond that, if the higher costs from inflation are hurting American families, then good news, the whole point of the Build Back Better Act is to help with costs. If Americans are feeling pinched by inflation raising prices 5%, then they will welcome with open arms lower costs for daycare. They'll welcome elder care. They'll welcome lower drug prices. They'll welcome capped insulin costs. They'll welcome free pre-K. They'll welcome $300 child tax credit checks. If you're looking for an antidote to inflation that no country in the world is able to escape, that is exactly what Democrats are doing right now. And the polling bears that out. Americans support the Build Back Better Act's long-term care investments by a 63-point margin. They support expanding Medicare to include hearing benefits by 59 points, housing investments by 40 points, clean energy jobs by 34 points, childcare by 35 points, universal pre-K by 34 points. Everything in this bill is popular, precisely because it helps ease costs that regular Americans incur. And the experts agree. 17 Nobel Prize-winning economists have also said that passing the Build Back Better Act would ease long-term inflationary pressures. They said, quote, "While we all have different views on the particulars of various economic policies, we believe that key components of this broader agenda are critical, including tax reforms that make our tax system more equitable and that enable our system to raise the additional funds required to facilitate necessary necessary public investments and achieve our collective goals. Because this agenda invests in long-term economic capacity and will enhance the ability of more Americans to participate productively in the economy, it will ease longer-term inflationary pressures. And yet, all the while, Republicans, the ones yelling the loudest about inflation, are the ones standing in the way of this bill passing. And so they're whining about inflation while simultaneously opposing Democratic efforts to actually ease those burdens on Americans. And the reason is because they want people to feel the pressure, because it is good for them politically. The more that they can hammer away at how bad it is for Americans day in and day out, over and over and over again, the better they think their prospects will be at midterms. And so, of course, they're not going to help Democrats pass the Build Back Better Act, because that would help all of those Americans who are hurting right now. The fact is that they need them to keep hurting, because as far as Republicans are concerned, beating Democrats is more important than helping Americans. To see more videos like this, click the subscribe button right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work, subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. I cover the most important stories each week, and my guest is always one of the top political figures, including Vice President Kamala Harris, Jen Psaki, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Nancy Pelosi, Katie Porter, Cory Booker, and so many more. The podcast link is also right here on this screen, so give it a listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.